What's going on, YouTube? This is Jim Fanis, and I'm laughing because as I was setting up my camera, I realized how pathetic this looks having an empty chair next to me. It's like, where's my friend? Anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys today about this whole esports thing. As you guys know, I'm a huge gamer, and it's really, really exciting to me to be a witness to the rise of esports. MLG kind of came along and sort of started to set the pace. You really started to see esports really explode with Blizzard, particularly StarCraft, and now League of Legends, constantly being one of the most viewed Twitch channels. Hearthstone, obviously, that's a Blizzard game. Counter Strike is very, very big. So it was really exciting moment for me to witness the Halo 5 tournament at the X Games. Now, the X Games are extreme games. Snowboarding. Well, this was the Winter X Games, so it was like snowboarding, bobsledding, I guess, that sort of thing. I'm more familiar with the regular X Games, like the BMX, the Tony Hawk's, Matt Hoffman's, all those guys of the world. Anyways, I thought it was really cool that that was kind of set on a national stage, and I really think that had a lot to do with ESPN beginning to stand up their esports channel. You go to espn.com/esports, and they are slowly but surely filling that out with content. Right now, I believe they only have Hearthstone and League of Legends and maybe Dota 2, maybe one or two other permanent tabs that they report on at a routine basis, and everything else is just kind of like a news feed. So it would make sense to me that ESPN, obviously owning the X Games, now getting into the whole esports thing, would like to start highlighting their product, building up excitement for the sport. And it was a great tournament. It was a great turnout as far as the competition. There were some amazing, amazing moments. There were some rivalries between the teams, which was really, really exciting to see. Basically everything you would expect in regular sports, which has led to some criticism, and that's kind of what I wanted to discuss today. Esports is technically not a sport, but without pulling out a dictionary, I look at it as a sport as anything that has some sort of competitive value to it. Bowling is competitive. Is that really a sport? Is like bocce ball a sport? Is polo a sport? And I say yes to all of those and more. And I don't see why, obviously we put the moniker E in front of it, making it eSports. So it's very clear it's electronic sports. But I think that seeing guys play on such a competitive level, could you imagine the stress sitting in front of an audience full of people knowing that, I don't know, 30, 40,000, whatever it was, people watching on the internet, watching on cable television, cheering for you or not cheering for you, booing for you. That's a lot of stress. And these guys go out there and make world class gameplay look like child's play. I mean, some of the shots that I saw those guys hit in Halo 5 were so inspiring to me, so jaw-dropping, just amazing. So to be able to go out there and to compete on that level against somebody else who is just as good or maybe better than you, and then have a squad of three other people, on each team, so a 4 versus 4 competition. Wow, that's amazing. That's something that I'm very interested in. I think that level of teamwork is, just like in every other sport. I mean, NBA's 5-on-5. Obviously, football is a little bit more than that. And you have some other team sports, but, esports can be a team sport too. And I just think that's really cool. So a lot of the criticism I don't really feel is very just. And I look at that and say, well, why are people kind of crapping on esports? I mean, yeah, body by Nintendo over here, but maybe I could compete in different ways. Sports don't have to necessarily be ultra physical, right? I mean, people watch other tournaments and other championships, but there seems to be some backlash over the fact that the Evil Geniuses, who won the Halo 5 tournament, actually received X Games gold medals. The runner-up team, CLG, I think it's Computer League Gaming, probably saying it wrong, of course, always prepared. They got the silver, and then there was another team that got the bronze. I'm sorry, I don't remember their name, but Do they not deserve those? I mean, does that cheapen the guy who did the 1080 off the half pipe with a snowboard? I don't know, maybe. I look at it as, the best of the world comes to play, and if they want to start kind of shoehorning in esports into sports for now to maybe get some popularity, I don't see a problem with that. I would like to see it have its own venue. Maybe like a video game Olympics or something, which sounds far fetched and goofy, but I mean, isn't that really what like the StarCraft World Championship Series is all about? Yeah, a lot of the winners do come from Korea, where that is really idolized as a huge sport there, where they actually fill up a whole stadium to watch two people participate, and you have players practice from a very young age who are geared into that. But how different is that than the Olympics when you see these young gymnasts beginning at a very young age, kind of working their way up to that? So I think right now I don't see a problem. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned, I believe this was a ploy by ESPN to bolster ratings because they know the Winter X Games are hot and a lot of people are enjoying that. So let's throw in some video games and kind of see what takes traction. But I think going forward, I think you'll see a separation between the two. I don't think esports will be tacked onto sports, and I think they'll hold their own in more venues consistently. You have these one-off events like Heroes of the Dorm. You have these one-off events like this Halo tournament. But there are other tournaments that are taking place on a routine basis that just don't seem to get this national coverage. But I could see that changing. I think more people are becoming more interested in it. And as the production values increase, and as the camera crews get better, and as you have the traditional color commentary guy and the straight lace guy, and you're able to show replays and explain to people what's happening, I think that's really where the threshold is in terms of making it even more accepted. A lot of people watch sports that they have no idea what's going on, and they rely on the commentators to kind of explain to you, like, oh, what you just saw was a really cool play, and here's why. And as you start to see those patterns and you become more invested and you understand the sport better, then you'll obviously start to appreciate it more. There's definitely a learning curve. A very small percentage of people are competitive on a scale that Halo is. It's a Twitch shooter with a lot happening. It's obviously 4 versus 4, so there's 8 different first-person perspectives that you have to be cognizant of. But I thought the commentators did a good job of kind of explaining the rules and what was important and why it was, standing in a certain position or utilizing power weapons or that sort of thing mattered. And I feel like the more that is explained, the more the sport will progress, and that's ultimately what I want. When I was a child, video games were shunned upon, and I was picked on a lot because I was a gamer, and I always wore gamer shirts to school, and I loved talking to other people about video games, and it just wasn't really that popular when I was growing up. It wasn't really until later in the Nintendo era did people start becoming more accepting of video games, at least in my little part of the world. And then by Super Nintendo, it kind of took off. But that's always been something that's been with me since childhood was video gaming, and it's just cool to see something that I loved and I believed in for so long getting recognition that I think it deserves. And I think all these my fellow competitors who are going out there and practicing and putting time and investment in just like everyone else. For other athletes to kind of shun them, and for other people to look at that and say, "Oh, that's not really that important." I say it's competition in its truest nature of just competition. It's there. And if you're watching two people play a professional game of kick the can, you may get into it if it was produced well enough, and you may start to say, hey, this is actually pretty neat. Obviously, kick the can's probably not a very good example, but the point is, I think it's cool, and I think it's got a place in today's society as everybody gets more connected. I mean, Clash of Clans is one of the most popular, if not the most popular game. And at the heart of it, it's Clash of Clans. It's a competitive, you go to somebody's base and you try to blow it up, and they come to your base and try to blow it up. So I think when people take a step back and not be so judgmental, I think they will see that it's definitely becoming embedded in our culture, and I think that's awesome. So that was just my little tirade on esports as a whole, and just my excitement for it, and my maybe dismay a little bit that some people are kind of bombing on it. I really don't think that's deserved. I think the people that participate in these competitions are definitely worthy of public praise and attention because it is really cool. So I'm gonna pan over, wrong way, to my lonely, lonely chair. As always, I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.